The last time I visited the channel's gun table, I took you guys and gals along the path to upgrading the compression set and trigger group of the Remington Defense MSR-700 made by Ares. And in that video, I said that I would get around to making a follow-up video showing how to upgrade the barrel and hop-up of this rifle. So today, I am here to make good on that. Which, before we get too far, let me know what upgrades or tech-type content you guys want to see in the future. I've been getting a lot of questions here lately about who does all the tech work and tuning on the channel's collection, and to some of your surprise, the answer is, well, me. Which, I don't know if I should be offended that some of you thought I was incapable or just didn't think I have a vested interest in learning the ins and outs of my own guns, but I'll just chalk it up to genuine surprise as not to hurt my own fifis. Regardless, leave your suggestions down below in the comments, and I'll be sure to do more gun tech content in the future. Now, for this video, we are going to go through the process of removing the hop-up chamber, and with it, the inner barrel, and then the process for upgrading it as well. I will not be covering the entire disassembly process in this video, but if you would like to see that in greater detail, I would recommend starting with the last gun table video, which should be right up above in the info card above, and I'll even leave it down in the pinned comment for you guys as a treat. So, if you want the full breakdown, go ahead and watch that video first and come back to this one afterwards. Or don't, I guess. I'm not your dad, as some of you seem to think that I am. Unless... Nah, I can't pull women, not even your mom, cause I'm afraid of women and therefore will never extend my family's lineage. Sorry, Mom and Dad, I hope grandchildren in the form of guns and a dog is acceptable. Anyhow, moving into the upgrade process, we of course have to disassemble the rifle down to just the outer barrel, where all the components we are going to be looking at are located for today. The rest of the rifle can wait to the side for now until we're done. Don't worry, sweetums. This won't take too long. With the outer barrel completely separated here, we want to remove this screw at the bottom just behind the feed tray slot, which is a simple Phillips head screw, nothing too difficult for anyone with at least 2 brain cells. And flipping the barrel over, we then need to loosen the small Allen key here, which is the detent for the hop-up arm inside the chamber. I am going to fully remove it myself as not to lose it, as this tiny little screw likes to free willy itself if it's not fully seated in place, and I really don't want to deal with finding that again after it happened the first time. And once those 2 screws are out, your inner barrel and hop-up chamber should easily fall out of the back of your barrel, allowing us to see the entirety of the system we are working with today. If for any reason the hop-up chamber doesn't come out on its own, you can assist it a bit by pushing the exposed end of the inner barrel, which should poke out of the front of the outer barrel as it is longer, to free up the chamber, but that's entirely dependent on individual need and not necessarily a feature of the rifle. Literally, it's just a fun tidbit I found while tinkering around with this rifle a little bit, so there you go. With the inner workings out in plain view, now is a good time to tell you guys what exactly I'll be putting into this beauty to get her all fixed up and running like a dream again. For my choice of hop-up bucking, I am using an 80-degree AST bucking from Maple Leaf, accompanied by an 80-degree Maple Leaf Omega hop-up tensioner, which led me to find something else rather interesting about the MSR that we'll get to shortly. And lastly, a Maple Leaf Crazy Jet 6.01 Precision Inner Barrel, which is more or less the star of this build. For those of you wondering why I didn't get an upgraded hop-up chamber, well, that is thanks to our lovely friends over at Ares, who ensured that this chamber is proprietary and that no upgrade units are currently made for this particular rifle. What a joy. Thankfully though, the chamber already appears to be made of steel or aluminum. Thank you, Ares, at least for that. So that's not too big of a problem in this case. I do also want to quickly point out that the barrel bucking and nub suggestions did once again come from the wonderful Luna Noir over on Twitch, one of my very helpful mods. So again, Luna, just as last time, thank you for all your help. I greatly appreciate it. And I am very eager to see how your suggestions stack up inside this rifle that just might give some of your own rifles a run for their money. We'll see about that. Now, to get our hop-up unit apart, we will need to remove 3 screws here on the left side of the chamber. And before we crack this bad boy open, be aware there are 2 springs inside that, if you are not careful, will yeet themselves into fucking outer space. One for the BB stopper and one for the hop arm at the top. So just be sure to open this up carefully as not to lose those 2 items. Now that we have the two halves apart, we really don't need the left half until we are ready for reassembly, so it and our 3 screws can go off to the side for now, just don't lose them. And now we can get into the real meat and potatoes here, because with our stock barrel and bucking exposed, you can take those 2 items and put them in the trash where they belong. Okay, maybe that's a bit harsh. The barrel is usable if you really want to for any reason. It's an okay 6.05 standard barrel, but the bucking is literal hot garbage. No offense to Aries here, but this thing doesn't even act like it wants to create an air seal in the chamber, so I wouldn't recommend you use it in anything after this. Even if you have a VSR-10 spec gun that's completely missing a bucking, you're better off not having one than using this one. Trust me, it's not good. So with the dumpster fire promptly put out and removed from the MSR, we can now prep and place in our new barrel, bucking, and nub. The barrel and bucking should slide together beautifully and create a very nice seal inside the chamber, which will help tremendously in accuracy and range going forward. And we can place our nub into the prongs of the hop arm, which, for those of you astute viewers, you may have noticed something odd about the old nub that came in this gun to begin with. Specifically the fact that it is still out looking for milk and never came home. I kid you not, I opened this up and there wasn't even a nub in this chamber, which may or may not add to the ever-confusing list of problems that this poor MSR had when I got it. Again, check out the previous video on this thing if you want the full picture and story. Either way, the lack of a nub kind of explains a lot of the gun's horrible accuracy problems out of the box. And so with our new Omega nub from Maple Leaf, we're going to fix that problem very promptly. And with our nub in place, bucking and barrel prepped, it's time to reassemble. I would highly recommend getting your barrel in place first and then dropping in your hop-up arm and BB stopper in that order. Again, these springs have a real problem doing what they're told or what they're made for, kind of like women with daddy issues, oddly enough. I really hope there isn't the spirit of a wasted white girl living in this gun, otherwise we're in for a lot more crying and passive-aggressive threats coming out of this in the near future. Here's hoping, I guess. But once you get the springs in line and ready to cooperate, as they should, you can place the other half of the chamber back on and screw it down firmly to ensure the best air seal possible. With this higher quality bucking, it will definitely thank you for restraining it some. It's okay, she's a naughty girl, she can take it. And after she's good and ready, just slide the barrel and hop-up chamber back in. Set the Allen key back in on top of the hop-up arm and set in the bottom screw to secure the system in place, and she should be ready to get back to slinging BBs for days. One last thing I did, as I do with most of my rifles, is check for any shifting between the inner and outer barrel, which for a precision rifle like this is a definite no-no, and not to my surprise, the inner barrel did have a fair amount of play in it. So I wound up taking the barrel back out and wrapping a bit of frog tape on a couple of spots along the outer surface. The reason I did this is that the frog tape has a nice textured surface, for her pleasure, that will add a bit of grip to the outer surface and make a snug fit at the end of the barrel, ensuring that there won't be any inconsistency in barrel movement going forward. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the full upgrade process for my Remington Defense MSR from Aries. I am very excited to get this baby back out onto the field with its new internals and see how it compares to the first video I've ever made with this bolt-action rifle. And I hope you guys are excited to see it as well. Once I'm able to get a break from the excessive heat we've been having here in the States, I am definitely going to get some more killer footage with this little lady for you guys. Trust me, it's going to be pretty neat. And with that, I will bring today's video to a close. I do hope you all enjoyed, and if you like this kind of content, like I said before, let me know what gun tech stuff you want to see me cover in the future. Whether it be upgrading a version 2 gearbox and how I personally tune my own rifles, or if you want to see the upgrade process on a completely stock gun all the way to LWA custom standards. Be sure to come by the old Twitch channel if you haven't already. I've been getting into some fun games here as of late, so I'm sure the community would love to have you over there as well, so be sure to come and say hello. Either way, I look forward to your guys' suggestions down in the comments, and as always, this has been Wolf, and hope to see you guys next time I hit the field.